and welcome back to my channel and to my series where I discuss many themes from Nier Automata. The game's story as a whole is brilliantly written to help the player think deeper about humanity and existence through the depictions of androids and machines and how they learn to grapple with very human concepts and emotions. This game not only does this in the main story quests, but also in the side quests. As someone who seeks out games with a captivating story but gets quickly annoyed with pointless side quests, I was immediately won over by how most of the side quests were as deep as the main story. This is something that I feel most games miss the mark on. Granted, not all side quests are good in this game, but I feel like most should be talked about. So today, I'm going to start talking about these side quests, starting with the Resistance Camp androids. Keep in mind, I'm not going to go over every single side quest about the Resistance androids. Some are either too trivial for a video, or I will talk about in future videos. Now with that out of the way, let's get into it. After the prologue of the game, 2B is back with 9S at the bunker where they visit the commander who instructs them to go back to the surface and find the Resistance camp. Once they land, they head over to the Resistance camp near a river by the city ruins. There, they speak to the leader, Anemone, who I will talk about in a separate video. This is where the side quests open up with the various neat NPCs. Most are open in both 2B's and 9S's playthroughs until a certain point. The two quests that open up this point are the weapon dealer's request and the supply trader's request. The former is a fetch quest to defeat some machines to get complex gadgets so the weapons dealer can repair his servicing device. The latter has more of a story to it. He can't get the raw materials to make plug-in chips himself because his leg is busted. When 9S asks if he could fix his leg, the trader tells him that all the spare parts need to go to the war effort. After 2B and 9S destroy some machines and obtain the needed materials, they return to the trader. 2B asks if he can spare some parts to fix his leg, to which he says no. So she asks if he would tell the truth, to which he says, "See, it's my left leg that's all busted up, and my left leg is the one that's fully original. I've repaired this old body of mine 100 times over during this war. I've swapped parts in and out so many times that I can't even keep track. But this left leg, it's never been touched. So if I go and replace that, what happens? I mean, would I even be me anymore? Or would I just..." This is a good example of making the player care about a fetch quest and also bring home an interesting thing to think about. When I was first introduced to this game, I had no idea that the Resistance camp members were androids. I assumed that they were humans, but now that I know better, it makes this sentiment deeper. Why would an android be attached to his or her original body? Sentimentality is a very human thing to feel. It's normal for people to feel attached to certain things as if they are extensions of themselves. When faced with losing that, one feels like it's possible to lose themselves. It's a very scary thing to feel. And at this point in the game, it is an interesting concept to bring up, as 2B and 9S had to destroy their black box signals during the prologue, and their memories were uploaded to Bunker and put into new bodies. So it begs the question, does their body make them, or does their memories? And this NPC brings out that question at this point. The next side quest I'd like to talk about is the manager's request. This village can be accessed upon returning to the camp from Pascal's village. There is another section of the camp to the right of Anemone. Through there and up the ladder, 2B and 9S find the manager, who can't stop thinking about something. When asked for more details, she said, "Oh, it's just one of my friends has a box that makes music when you open it, and I can't get the damn song out of my head. It's just so beautiful. I've never heard anything like it. And to make it worse, I can only remember the first part of the song. It's driving me nuts. I wish she'd just come back to the camp so I can hear the damn thing again." They agree to help her because otherwise she wouldn't be able to get any work done. Pod directs them towards the amusement park to start their search. Next to the closed side gate, through the side entrance, they obtain the music box, which has been rested over. There, they also find a corpse, who looked like she died a long time ago. They decide to go back to the manager. There, they tell her about what happened. After her first reaction of, oh, she says that she will get it working again and can now focus on her work. The music in the area turns into a music box rendition of the Resistance Camp theme. There's a lot to say about this. First, there's a common psychological process called music-evoked autobiographical memory, which is music triggering memories of a person, place, or experience. In this case, the music box reminded her of her friend. While it's a common experience to have a part of a song in your head and for it to drive you crazy, I imagine that she was also being reminded of her friend that she hadn't seen for a while and needed closure. The second thing that came to mind was how cavalier her reaction was to being told that her friend was dead. At first, she had the reaction of, oh, but then went back to thinking with the bright side that now she could fix the music box and be able to focus again. I believe that she was able to have closure about what happened to her friend, but also it's possible that she was going through shock and starting the grief stage of denial. With the storage area now open, the quest Resistance Disappearance opens up. In the main camp where the hospital beds are, they find the next NPC, who at first is coy about asking them for this favor, but when 9S encourages her, she tells them that one of her friends has gone missing. When asked where he was last seen, she replies that it was in the storage site where he works. When they said they would look for him, she says, "Oh please, would you? Without him, please." At the site, 2B finds something carved in the column. 9S sees that there are 3 numbers, which he assumes to be coordinates. The coordinates leads them to the desert where the android is found dead, up against a tree, and a machine begins to attack them saying, "Kill, avenge, kill. Kill all who stand in our way. Androids will pay, all of you." After they kill the machine, 2B asks Pod to analyze the machine, who reports that the machine's comrades were killed. Because of its grudge, it lured the Resistance member there to kill him. When 9S checks a Resistance member's memory, he finds that he wanted revenge as well. On the way back, they grapple with the dilemma of if they should tell her the truth about what happened or not. When they return to the NPC, the player has the option to either tell the truth or to lie and say you couldn't find him. I chose to tell the truth because I'm a firm believer in being honest and telling the truth. I believe it's so important to learn the truth no matter how difficult it is, because then you know and you can overcome it. They tell her the truth about his death and the revenge and the circumstances surrounding it. Her reaction at first was, "Oh no," and then it was, "Damn the machines, I'll murder them all." 9S tries to de-escalate her by saying that they killed the machine responsible for his death, and so there is no need for everyone to seek revenge. The cycle needed to be broken. She says, "But what do I do now? I have no one to love and no one to kill. I have nothing." 2B has to stop 9S from trying so hard to dissuade her. However, he promises to return to check on her. The music changes here to a more melancholy theme with piano and a vocalist. When they return to check on her, they find that she's gone. Another Resistance member informs them that she left a while ago. She was upset and heavily armed. This quest shows an ugly truth about the cycle of revenge. Both the machine and the Resistance member wanted to avenge their fallen comrades by killing each other. The Resistance member's lover was left without her love and decided to seek revenge too, despite 2B and 9S killing the machine that killed her lover. Revenge is a brutal and illogical cycle that brings nothing but pain and death. Unfortunately, it is something that has happened over and over in human history, which is why it is depicted so often in the media. After the part of the quest where a Goliath destroys a part of the city ruins, the next Resistance member side quest becomes available. Towards the entrance/exit to the camp is a woman who lost some of her memory after battling some machines. She was only left with some photographs, which she has no memory of, but she knows that they're important. One is of an oasis in the desert, the next is the amusement park, and the last is of 3 waterfalls. She also requests that when they find the locations, to send her the coordinates. It's easiest to find the one at the amusement park, since it's the most obvious, with the castle and the opera house being very striking. The waterfalls are in the forest zone on the way to the forest castle part of the main story. The last photograph is the most difficult one to get to, as you have to go around the sandstorm to find the oasis. 9S wonders why she cares so much about the photos, and 2B remarks that everyone has precious memories and it's not their right to judge their value. It is a rare kind of remark to come from her, but it makes sense considering at the beginning she had to detonate his black box because he was unable to get his memories back to the bunker. When they return to the Resistance member, they first hand over the desert photo. She remembers the heat and wonders if she was with someone. After handing over the amusement park photo, she remembers the location and having fun there together. Upon receiving the waterfall photo, she remembers how she stumbled upon it one day when she was lost. Then she remembers that the photos were data from her beloved. 8 years before, they were attacked by machines. During the battle, her lover was killed and she lost a lot of her memories. She assumes that the photos were a message from him to her. The music changes to a somber piano ballad as the NPC confesses. Honestly, I've been thinking a lot recently about whether it's worth it to continue living. This data is telling me that I need to continue on. And yet, what's the point of a world where my love is gone? What's the point of living? Again, 2B has to tell 9S that they need to go. These past 3 quests show a wide range of the grieving process. The manager doesn't seem to have much of a reaction about the death of her friend, and yet she continues to play the music box. This seems to be the first step of the grieving process: denial. The NPC with the resistant disappearance quest is in the anger phase of the grieving process as she seeks revenge. Finally, the photographs NPC is in the depression stage of grief as she questions the point to continue on living. At first, it was because she felt a void and didn't know why, because of losing her memories. But when she remembered, she didn't know how she could go on living without her lover. There is a quest later that deals with the acceptance stage of grief. However, I won't get into that until the very end of the video. However, I want you to keep in mind 9S's reactions to each of these quests, as that's important. The next quest I want to go over is a very heavy one that is quite infuriating. It's accessed in Pascal's village on the bottom floor where a couple is hidden. When 2B and 9S talk to them, the woman assumes that they are there to arrest them. 9S assures them that they will do no such thing, but asks why they think that. She admits that they deserted the resistance, and they wanted to find a place where they could live in peace. 9S assures them that they're with Yorha and have no obligation to report them, but expresses concern about them being found. The woman explains that their locomotion parts are damaged and they don't have the materials to repair them, so she asks them to get the parts for her. The elaborate gadget is found near the abandoned factory. They go back to deliver the part, and then the couple disappears for a while. The next place they find them is in the flooded city. Once again, they need help, but the man is too stubborn to ask for help. The woman is insistent that he lets her handle it, and they argue. Finally, the woman tells them that they need help with going to a land across the sea. She informs them that there is a resistance camp member called the Emancipator, who had agreed to help them, but for a fee of 50,000 G, which they asked 2B and 9S to give, with the promise to pay them back. The next time the quest gets updated, they find the man wounded under one of the bridges in the flooded city. He tells them that the Emancipator attacked. From the start, he was conning them. 9S asks about the woman, and he said that she fled while acting as a decoy. He gives them her biocode so that they could find her. The woman is found by the entrance to the amusement park wounded by a tree. They need to find a memory alloy to repair her. When they deliver it to her, Pascal arrives. He explains that he had wondered what became of the couple and searched for them. During his search, he found that one of their signals was becoming weak, so he told Nines to give him the materials and he would repair her. Repaired, the woman asks about the man. Nines assures her not to worry and that he is fine. Just then, the man joins them. He apologizes to the woman for not being strong enough for her. She assures him that all that matters is his safety. The couple begins to debate about what to do next. The man wants to continue to run, and the woman believes it to be too much to be hunted by the Resistance and the machines. She's had it and wants to go back to the Resistance, saying that if they reformat themselves and reset their memories, then maybe Anemone would take them back. The man resists because he doesn't want to forget how he feels about her. The woman counters that if they don't, she would learn to hate him, but assures him that if they get reformatted, she'd fall in love with him again. They ask for help with erasing their memories and being taken back to the camp. They begin with the man, and when they ask if the woman is ready, she tells them that there is no need. She knew that they were weak and wanted to convert one of them into a combat model android so that they wouldn't have to run anymore. There was no way that could happen unless he had a complete system reset, then he could become stronger. She even goes as far as to say, while I'm at it, I better delete all his namby-pamby ways. I need someone more forceful in my life, you know? Nines is speechless, so she goes on to say, oh, don't look at me like that. This is the 6th time I've had him reformatted, and it's never been a problem. After they leave, Pascal asks Nines what that was all about. To which Nines replies, women can be scary sometimes. This quest really infuriated me, and I imagine many others playing the game. Dating someone with the purpose of changing them to your liking is not okay. If there are personality traits that are deal breakers, it's best to break up instead of seeking to change your partner. Because if you love someone, you love and accept them for who they are. And if you can't, then that's not love. More than that concept is the fact that the man had no idea that this was happening to him 6 times. He only loved her and wanted to be with her, while she just wanted him to be stronger and more assertive. He deserved better than her. The last shared side quest I'm going to cover in this video is Retrieve the Confidential Intel, which can be started after the assault mission in the main quest. The NPC is found inside a container on the rooftop in the city ruins. He asks for 2B and Nines' help with retrieving some plug-in chips with confidential data that some machines had stolen. It'd be a huge problem if the machines figured out what the data was about. He sends them the coordinates of 3 plug-in chips. When they find and destroy the machines with the chips, Pod informs them that they are Yorha chips and a non-Yorha android has no business with them. After they retrieve the final chip, Pod tells them that Command is calling. The commander informs them that there is a missing Yorha in the city ruins in possession of chips with classified information. They were ordered to find the unit and inform Command of its whereabouts and status. They return to the man and hand over the chips. He rewards them and promises that he would introduce them to his family the next time that they meet. The next time they find him is in one of the rundown apartments in the desert. Assuming that they knew that the chips were Yorha, he confesses that there was a reason, which they would understand once he introduces them to his family. From the doorway is an S-type Yorha model with black hair who walks out to meet them. The Resistance member confesses that he always wanted a family. Seeing all the machines with a family made him feel lonely, so he stole a broken Yorha body and repaired it. Of course, 2B and Nines don't like this, but the man says that he knew that it was wrong, but he wanted a family. He asks that they don't tell anyone, and the S model asks, please. Later, they receive a letter from Command. In the letter, the search order has been annulled, as the Yorha model was killed by machines, and a Resistance android was found dead nearby. Of course, Yorha retrieved the chips with the classified intel. Now, I don't trust Command, so I have a theory that they were executed for having the chips but that's just a theory. However, I wanted to talk about this quest because of something I will talk about in a future video about the machines, and that is about the desire to have a family. A lot of people find fulfillment and companionship in having a family, whether that be a biological family or a family that you create. Not everyone has had the luxury of being born into a good family, so that's where creating your own family has its merit. For example, I'm not close with my family, but I have friends that I consider to be like family, and I have my puppy, Shushu. Since I had a desire similar to the man to have a family to take care of and protect, adopting Shushu has been one of the best decisions of my life, as he has given me love, comfort, and companionship, and in return I care for his needs. I spent 4 years living alone before having him, and in the year that I've had him, while it's stressful at times, I'm much happier, more emotionally stable, and less lonely. He has given me more joy than I could possibly imagine. The machines and androids are mimicking human behavior, and it's a very human thing to seek out family, as it is crucial for our species to thrive. That's why early humans were hunter-gatherers and started civilizations. So, while it's very creepy that the Resistance member stole a broken down S-model Yorha android, it is understandable why he did it. So the conclusion of this quest is quite sad, as the player could come to root for the man wanting him to have a family and to live happily. But, alas, very few things in this game end happily. There are 2 more side quests that I'm going to discuss today. One is specific to 9S and Route B, and the last is in 9S's playthrough in Route C or D. Amnesia starts after the assault mission, where a female resistance android is found in the building where they first fought Ingalls during the assault. During that battle, there was a shockwave which caused her to lose her memory. However, 9S looks familiar to her. He tells her that Yorha units look alike, so she puts 2 and 2 together. She asks for help because her friend was killed during their mission and she wanted to retrieve her final moments. A broken pod had the memories. 9S hacks into the pod and they see the moment the woman was killed by another resistance member wearing a red cape with a hood. 9S offers to hack in deeper to get the full story. However, the woman says there is no need because the killer was going to pay. As she's walking away, 9S stops her from going to kill the murderer. He wants to investigate what happened first, so she agrees to wait. At the resistance camp in the area next to Anemone, they find someone wearing the red hood. When 9S asks about the hood, she says that her friend gave it to her. She doesn't know how her friend got the hood, so 9S asks where her friend is. The friend is at the desert station. When they arrive there, they don't see her, so they ask the guy that's there, which he reveals that the woman is Jackass, whom I haven't talked about in this video because I don't find her side quests interesting, but she's a pretty intense character with a love for bombs and fighting. The resistance member directs them to a cave where she's using explosives. When they find Jackass, she reveals that she obtained the hood after the explosion in the city ruins. A resistance woman with red hair desperately wanted her to buy it from her. 9S puts it together that their client also had red hair and was probably the killer. Jackass adds that the woman was grinning like a maniac, so with that information, they return to the client. When they arrive, 9S confronts her with the information about her selling the red hood. She's in denial, but 9S keeps pressing her about it. The woman asks him to hack into the pod again to find out. But 9S cautions her about not liking what they would find. But she's insistent about learning the truth. After hacking the pod, 9S sees the image, in fact, shows the woman's face next to the dead body. The woman remembers that she's a Yorha Type E, which is the execution type Yorha models who are programmed to find and to destroy deserters and traitors. She is disguised so she could kill more easily. But one day she received and carried out orders to kill her friend. Eventually, she couldn't live with what she had to do, so she erased her memories. In fact, this wasn't the first time she had to do so. The music changes to an ominous choir as she admits to murdering her comrades, friends, and lovers over and over again. Then she goes off into maniacal laughter. She even offers her services if they need someone killed. 2B tells him, Let's go. Ninus is incredulous that there's a Type E, as he has never heard of it. 2B replies with, "Some things are better left unknown." Here's a massive spoiler warning, as I will be getting into endgame information. If you have not played the game, please skip ahead to the end. This quest is brilliant in its foreshadowing. In fact, all these side quests are. Every time I have pointed out that Ninus was showing concern and empathy, while 2B kept telling him that they should go and stop getting involved further. Then in Amnesia, Ninus finds out the truth about Yorha Type E, and 2B offers no explanation. After ending B, Route C begins with Commander sending all Yorha units to the surface for war. During this war, Yorha gets infected with the logic virus. Ninus manages to disconnect them from the server before it could spread to them. However, in the process, the bunker was infected and destroyed. When 2B lands on the surface, she discovers that she was also infected by the logic virus. As she hobbles away, she's attacked by other infected Yorha members. Before she is struck down, A2 kills them. After the battle, 2B cuts off her visor, saying, "I guess this is it," and slowly lifts her head and opens her eyes to reveal the red glare from the virus. Gasping, she plunges her sword into the rock, saying that they are her memories, and asks A2 to take care of everyone for her. The perspective changes to 9S, who is desperately searching for 2B. When he's about to head across the bridge, he sees A2 plunging her sword into 2B. The camera zooms in on 2B's back with the sword sticking out, blood everywhere, and then pans to her face as she says, "Oh, nines." Blind with grief and rage, he charges towards A2, screaming before the bridge is broken by the tower, and he falls down to the ravine. I will go more into this in the future video, but during this route, 9S begins to go through a dramatic change. He's no longer curious about the machines and feeling empathy. He's out for revenge against A2 and seeks to destroy all the machines. During this route, he's going through the stages of grief, as he clearly loved 2B and wants to find a way to ease his suffering, not understanding the whole story that A2 had to kill her because of the virus, and that A2 was tasked with taking care of everyone in her stead. Here is where I will finally get into the last Resistance member side quest for this video, called Gathering Keepsakes, which happens after the quest Loss. In the camp, a Resistance member asks 9S if he had seen these people. When 9S replies that he hadn't, the man tells him that they were in the same squad, but he lost contact with them when they went out for field research. He wanted to know if they died or not, so that he could properly mourn them. His motor functions were damaged, so he couldn't look for them himself. When 9S accepts the quest, the man gives the first lead that the last time he saw them was in the flooded city, and he gave him the ID codes. There, 9S finds one of them dead with his dog tag still on him. Pod informs them that they were trying to retreat from battle, and Pod finds the other coordinates. At the amusement park, 9S finds the next dead Resistance member who died a very bloody death. The next one is found near the abandoned factory. There, Pod detects that there was a request for emergency support, which was sent 12 minutes before. 9S then has hope that there might be some living members left. In the desert, 9S finds two heavily armed tanks with machines attacking while he located the Resistance member. The machines were declaring their hate for androids and were seeking revenge to kill every single android. After he destroys the tanks, he discovers that he was too late, and all the Resistance members he asked to find were killed. Upon returning to the man, he could already tell by the look on 9S's face that they were all dead. He returns their belongings to him, and the man tells him that he will put their things next to the flowers he prepared. He proceeds to tell him about an old ritual he learned about the old world. Learning about how humans mourn their dead inspired him to prepare the flowers, hoping that his dead comrades would rest in peace. This man demonstrated the last stage of grief, acceptance, which helped inspire 9S to try to work towards that step. If you have finished Emil's Memories side quest, This scene happens. 9S takes Kaine's elevator at the shopping district to where Emil lives in the field of Lunar's Tears. I will get into the lore of this in another video. Here he begins to talk to TB, plunges a marker into the earth, hopes for her to be at rest, and promises to be with her soon. It is later in the route where A2 reveals that 2B was actually a Type B android who was programmed to execute 9S once he found out the truth. Yet, every time she had to kill 9S, it destroyed her inside. Here, everything comes full circle. All these side quests I discussed in this video, as well as many others, are crucial to really flesh out the story. These resistance androids all experience some sort of grief, loss of something, whether that's their memories or parts of themselves, and some even experience death. These stories are examples of the stages of grief and how humans exhibit behaviors of grief and the importance of remembering the dead. Some of these androids opt to have their memories erased because of the pain of losing, or in the case of amnesia, killing a loved one. Having these gaps in memory cause these androids to experience an emptiness for not remembering the truth. Here is an essential truth that it's important to remember bad things, because remembering helps you come to acceptance and to grow. Last year, I lost my grandpa, whom I had a deep connection to, while I was living on the other side of the world in South Korea. I had to mourn him alone with Shushu, and it was the worst grief I have ever experienced. Knowing that I would never see him again was almost unbearable. However, the thought that his memory lives on in me was a comfort. We both shared a love and passion for music and art, so I knew that he would want me to live on and achieve my dreams doing those things. It was remembering that and remembering him that helped me come to accept that he is gone. It still hurts like a bitch, but I can live my best life knowing that he would want that. For these androids, they needed to learn acceptance and mourn their loved ones like the android did in gathering keepsakes. 9S needed to learn that as well, like he observed from the many NPCs he interacted with. It's important to allow yourself to grieve, remember, and to keep living to try to attain happiness and peace. It's what our loved ones want for us. This game is brilliant in how many of these side quests tell these stories that both allude to the overall plot of the main story, as well as teach important lessons to the player. I also have to make a note here that I comment on the music on a lot of these quests because the music in this game is a storytelling device of itself, because it brings in the mood and the vibe from each of the NPCs and how they grieve. Even some of the fetch quests had a deep purpose and made the player care about these NPCs because the player can understand them. Most people have experienced grief or some sort of loss and can turn to games like Nier Automata to process these experiences. It's one of the beautiful things about video games. So it is my hope that through this video you are able to process your emotions and understand how important it is to feel them and to remember. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as I will be putting out more Nier Automata content as well as content from other games. And with that, I will see you next time. Bye!